Hey, 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 welcome to Conversations with Robin. Conversations that empower, inspire, and enlighten. Every week, we have different guests on our show where we understand how did they become the person that they are today. So sit back, relax as we deep dive and enjoy the ride. Welcome to Conversations with Robin. I have Murielle on Conversations with Robin, and I'm so excited to have her on. Murielle is an intuitive coach and hypnotherapist dedicated to empowering women on their journey to self-love and self-discovery. Murielle's mission is to guide you towards a deep, authentic love for yourself, laying the foundation for a life where you feel truly empowered and deserving of manifesting your dreams. With her expertise in hypnotherapy, Murielle delves into the heart of trauma and limiting beliefs, healing them at their core to unveil the true essence of their soul. Her unique approach integrates the profound insights of the Akashic Records, bringing clarity and direction to life's purpose and aligning your actions with the journey of your soul. Murielle, you have such a beautiful biography, and I didn't pronounce your last name on purpose because I did not want to mess it up. So I would love for you to tell everyone how to say your last name and what it means.
Yeah, so my last name is actually Gros-Désirs. So these are French words. I'm from the French Caribbean island of Martinique, and it actually means big desires. So I'm quite proud of my name because it's basically something that reminds me that I should always dream bigger. And one of my goals and one of the mission that I have in my family is not only to dream big, but actually make these dreams become reality because we're big dreamers in the family, but sometimes it doesn't really happen. So this is one of the this is one of the goals that I have in life.
I love that. I love that you it's a part of you. It's a part of your DNA to dream big, to live your purpose, to live with passion. And I believe that everyone should, but we like you said, we don't, and I think fear gets in the way. But we don't, and I think that's amazing that you do. What led you down the path of hypnotherapy?
Um, well, my whole journey started with personal development. So I quickly understood the power that limiting beliefs had over us. And it became important for me to, tackle these limiting beliefs so that I could unleash my true power and really go after my goals. And with the awareness that I was acquiring through my own experiences, I became also aware that affirmations are good, but sometimes you need to dig a little deeper and go and reprogram your subconscious. So this is what was interesting for me in the area of hypnotherapy, and I really wanted to help my client to heal in a deep way. So I don't want to say not stay in the surface level, but this is actually something that helps you revisit and rewrite the difficult stories of your life. So you're going to the root cause. And for me, it has always been important to be aware of what the root cause is so that you can heal the root and not only the symptoms. So, yeah, that's what I really enjoy about it because we're going to the root event, and then you're able to see all the different life events that occurred where you reinforce this limiting belief, and all of this is also going to unfold. So it's like rewriting a whole aspect of your life.
Mhm.
And when you do that, you're also regaining your the energy that was tied in all of these different events, because when something difficult happens to you, we don't always realize, but there's an energetic part of us that we tie into the event. So when you go and unlock that, you're regaining your power, you're regaining your energy, and you're able to use that energy to go and do other things and go after your goals.
Mm. I love that you share that. So with hypnotherapy, I think people have this idea of it, or I know I have this idea of it as you're relaxing your client and getting them into a state where they just their mind, body, and soul is able to just relax and not get in the way of our everyday life. So is it kind of like that where they're not asleep. They know exactly what they're doing and saying. And they have it's not like you're paralyzing anybody or you're making someone do anything like that, like you see on TV. But it's like you're getting into their subconscious, right? Am I saying that correctly? Okay, okay.
Definitely,
Yeah.
yeah. And I love that you brought that up because a lot of people are super scared when they
Yes.
hear hypnotherapy because they think about hypnosis, right? And they think that you're going to give them suggestions and force them to do things. And it's really not about that. And as
Mm-hmm.
you said, you've explained it beautifully. Like, it's a relaxed state. And I like to compare it to channeling because for me, I'm guiding my clients to channel their higher self.
Mm-hmm.
And because what they're immersed in a past event, but in the whole process of relaxation and traveling to that event, well, I sense that their guides and their higher self are the entities that are actually leading them to a specific event. So
Mm-hmm.
it's not, how can I say that? There is a reason why you're visualizing a specific event in hypnotherapy, and I think your guides have a very important part in that, so that they help you travel to the event that is going to be the most powerful for you if you heal it. And why I say that it's channeling is because you're seeing the event, but you're also able to channel messages from your higher self on how to heal it. So I'm also guiding the person with questions and things like that. But there's a lot of innate wisdom that appear in the session, and the person already can envision what they need to do in order to heal from that situation and from that limiting belief. So it's about opening a sacred space where the person is in a higher state of consciousness and can revisit a difficult event but see it with a different perception, with
Mm-hmm.
a higher vibration, and say, okay, at that time this made me very sad, this made me very angry, and it made me
Mm-hmm.
feel like I didn't have any self-worth. But right now I'm seeing that actually, if I had to go through this, it was to develop this other ability, this other um quality or power that I now have. And I am actually thankful and grateful for what happened, and I forgive that person. I forgive myself also for how I interpreted this situation, and I'm okay to move forward and release any ties that I have with what happened.
So are you working with your client's spirit guide as well, or is it just mainly, I guess, their higher self?
I'm also working with both actually. So the
Mm.
very first session that I like to have with my clients is actually a connection with their spirit guides. And this connection is established so that the spirit guides can help us in the later hypnotherapy sessions.
Wow. Okay. Okay. And then how from your expertise, how long does it take sometimes? And I know everyone's different and everyone is on their own healing journey and it just all depends on the situation. But how long does it usually take, or how many sessions does it usually take for someone to start um that transformation of themselves?
Um, well, I would say 3 sessions minimum, because a lot of time, when you dive into one limiting belief, then you realize that there are other limiting beliefs that are connected to it. Or sometimes, for example, I had a client that had a difficult relationship with her dad, and that came up in one of the hypnotherapy sessions. But she also had a difficult relationship with the mom. So
Mm,
obviously we did all the session, well, healing the relationship with the mom, but there, well, with the dad, sorry, but there was a whole another aspect that she needed to heal with the mom. So it's also that as well. Sometimes things come up and you
mhm.
basically have to do another session for each things that is coming up until you feel like you've completely healed.
Okay.
And
Okay.
when I say completely healed, well, it's never 100%, but you're going to feel a difference, in how peaceful you are, how relaxed you are, how energized you are. And actually, a lot of my clients already tell me that after the first session, they feel super energized. And
Mm,
this goes adding up with the different sessions that you take.
wow. Wow, that's beautiful. How like with your background and expertise, what is one of the main reasons people do not follow their intuition?
Oh, for me, it's not trusting their intuition. So actually something that I'm really into right now, because I'm actually launching a program to help people connect better with their intuition.
Okay.
And from my personal experience, when I started trying to connect with my intuition, I always felt like I was not enough. So I was thinking, oh, my vibration is not high enough so that I can channel messages from higher being. Or I would see things, but because I was quite judgmental about myself, I would diminish the meaning. And
Mm,
actually, well, it was a long work, but I actually worked on deepening my intuition and my relationship with my intuition with a coach. And I realized that these weird images that are that are coming to mind, they're popping out of nowhere. And if they're popping out of nowhere, it's because I didn't create them. So I'm
mm,
starting to think, oh, okay, I need to pay attention to these images and try to capture these moments before they just fade away and my ego comes into play and start to tell me that this is nonsense. And I'm gonna try and see if there is a message behind these messages, behind these images. And this is actually how I build my relationship with my intuition, my
mm.
understanding as well that um, when you get a message, you need to follow through for a few days, see what's happening in your life, and it builds your trust because you can see that, okay, I received that message and this happened, so it was real.
So, and that actually goes into my next question, but that that sounds about like I feel like what we all go through, we all kind of second guess ourselves. So it's just about trusting ourselves. Okay, okay.
Definitely. Yeah, it's
That
more about trusting yourself, and yeah, what you're channeling, and knowing that we're all powerful channelers. We all have a connection with the divine. And I think sometimes we see these amazing psychics and we think, oh, they have something special. But everybody has this ability, and it's about trusting ourselves and knowing that we are also able to do it. And this is actually why we're here on earth, to
Mhm.
remember that we're connected to the divine, and also nurture that connection in our day-to-day life.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you for that. I know you did kind of go into when you tapped into your own tuition in that process. When was it that you recognized, like, wait a minute, I am seeing or feeling or tapping into my intuition? How do I know my thought is my thought, or what my spirit guides are trying to tell me? Like, how do you differentiate what your spirit guides and the divine is leading you to do versus your ego, if you will?
Um, well, it's a difficult question. I'm a person that feel a lot,
Mhm,
so I tune into the vibration of what I'm receiving. So a lot of time when I receive a message from my ego, it would be something that's sometimes, well, it's fear related, and it's trying to keep me in a box in a way, like um a comfort zone where I feel safe. And there is this vibration of, stopping me, not in a mean way, but just keeping me into the known, whilst the energy of what comes from the universe, from from my higher self, or from guides, is actually expansive.
mhm,
So it gives me this, I feel it in my heart as well. It starts to be exciting. It
mhm,
starts, there's some momentum building up. And then I can sense that after that the ego comes and say, oh no, you should not do that, it's not safe. And it's weird because this second voice is a bit reassuring, and you're like, oh yeah, true, I shouldn't do that, because yeah, it's a bit scary anyway. But it is more of a blocking energy, whilst when I speak to my guide, it's something more expansive. And
mhm,
as I said earlier, a lot of times the message that I receive from guides, and they're it's really popping out of nowhere, like, because I'm seeing images. So sometimes I like, why am I seeing roses right now? I was not doing anything related to that. And
mhm,
it just pops out in my mind, and I'm like, okay, I need to pay attention to that and see the symbolism that is associated to it for me. And this is how I started, at least. And I had to create my own little dictionary, and to know, okay, this means that, and
mhm,
this is the message that they're trying to send me.
mhm. Yeah, yeah. I um I love how you explained, like, when it's from your spirit guides, you feel it in your heart and you feel the vibration of it. And you might be, and then the ego comes in and your comfort zone comes in, and it's like, no, 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 let's just stay in this box. But then, it's like we have to kind of get out of the box to experience that expansiveness, like you said. And a lot of people, even myself, we've all been in situations where we want to stay in the comfort zone because it's the known, it's what we've known all of our lives. But that's not where we grow, right? Like, that's not where we grow, and we have to get out of that box. So I love how you explained that. Um,
Yeah. And
Go ahead.
even for our, it's not healthy to stay in a box, because our souls our hair to expand and to grow. So if you imagine something as big as a soul that's also in tune with the expansion of the universe, it's trying to expand through you. But actually, if you constrict yourself and stay in that box, you're trying to limit the expansion of your soul, and then what happens? Then it affects your health.
Right. Yes.
So it's reassuring at first to stay in that little box, but long term, it can be dangerous as well.
Yeah, yeah. I love that you just said that because it does create turmoil within ourselves because it's like our soul knows we need to grow, but we're like keeping it down. And so it's like our soul's like, no, 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 I have to get out of here. So I love that you just said that because that's so true. What is some of the things that you see with clients as far as signs that they are limiting themselves?
Well, mostly excuses like,
Mhm.
oh, I can't do this because it would require this much time, and I don't have I don't have the time to do it, or um my husband would not understand, my partner would not understand. And yeah, you can it's mostly when the person relies on external facts, circumstances, to explain why they're not making a move.
Mhm.
And you can sense that it's more, yeah, trying to stay in the comfort of the known, because a lot of time they're scared of succeeding and what it might actually look like to have this fulfilling life. And yeah, it's something that is not necessarily on a conscious level. And when it's not on the conscious level, when you're not aware of it, well, you tend to go back to whatever the ego tells you.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah. Thank you for explaining that. Um, would you say, I know that you also are into the Akashic Records as well. What exactly is the Akashic Records and what led you down that path?
So when I first heard of the records, it was a bit weird because I had the feeling that I had heard that before. I
Hmm.
didn't. It was like a journey of remembering, and it took me several years to actually train myself in the Akashic records and learn how to access them. But it was always something on my mind, like the vibration of the word Akash, and um, all the possibilities that also lies behind this world. It looked like something very immense and very big for me. And yeah, so I finally decided to get trained in the Akashic records, and finally experience what it was to be in the records. And the way I can explain it is, imagine you're so yeah, it's an image so that you can understand. Imagine you're walking down a beach and you're making footprints in the sand. So each actions that we're doing are actually creating footprints, but energetic footprints. And these are recorded in the Akashic records. Another thing is that time, well, we have a perception of time in this dimension, but in higher dimensions, time does not exist. So everything happens at once. And this is why in the Akashic records, you can see the energetic footprints of what happened in the past, but also what is going to happen in the future. But in there you have a recording of all the different possibilities. That means that the decisions that you took in the past that led you to a specific path, okay, they exist, but the timelines that you didn't go through also exist, and this is also true
Mm.
for the future. So this is why when you tap in the future, well, because you haven't actually made that decision yet, all the different possibilities are in there. So I like to imagine it as a record where all the different parallel universes are registered. So for me, each time we make a decision, it's like there is a split, and each parallel universe has a different path of what could have happened, and basically all of these different paths are recorded in the records. So a lot of people come to me because they want clarity on which direction they should go into. And when they come to me and I go into the records, I will tell them what path is more aligned with what their soul want, or what their goal in the present moment is. So the tapping into the Akashic records is exactly that, having this ability to see the different timelines and the different paths, and help people by saying, okay, this seemed to be the path that would be more aligned with your soul and with your heart desires. But it's also the possibility of going into the past to see what event happened in the past that are actually having an impact on you today. So in that sense, it's a bit close to hypnotherapy. We can make a parallel between hypnotherapy and the Akashic records, because in hypnotherapy you're going back to a past event, and you're also able to do that in the Akashic records. You can revisit an event and actually do an energetic clearing in order um, to change, to transform the impact that is this event is having on your life right now. So this all also works with ancestral healing, because this is a doorway to what your ancestors might have experienced that is having an impact on you right now. So you're able to do that clearing and release that energy. And sometimes because in the Akashic records I am in communication with guides as well. They're the ones that are sharing the information with me, because imagine it's a it's a massive amount of information. So you need somebody there to say, okay, this is what you have to look into.
Thank you so much for explaining that. I have so many different things that I want to touch on from you explaining that. First off, you mentioned time. Time is such a 3D uh uh expanse or a 3D setting, I guess I should say, because you're right, time really doesn't exist. So to see how in the Akashic records, I guess you can see your past, present, and future all at the same time. Um, but as far as the parallel, I guess the parallel paths that we all could have maybe taken that path, or if we didn't take that path, does that mean, in your opinion, that somewhere in another dimension, that life is still there for us? Or is it happening at the same time? I know with this might go over some people's head because I love to like deep dive into stuff like this. I'm all for it, Muriel. But so yeah, so does it is it happening in another life as far
For
as that
me,
parallel life? Go ahead, sorry.
it all exists at the same time. So there's like an infinite amount of versions of us
Yes.
that are actually that are actually living right now.
Yes.
And yeah, their lives can be perhaps closer to what we're experiencing or very far away from it, depending um, on the decisions that they have made. And an interesting practice that I sometimes do with my clients is actually connecting to that parallel life, because what you
Mm,
can do is communicate with that other you in
mhm,
order to let's say you have a goal that you want to achieve. You want to be an entrepreneur, but you have no idea how to do that. Then there's probably a you in a parallel universe that is living that dream life
mm,
that you want to experience. So the idea is to connect both
mhm.
and receive messages from this other part of your soul and being able to integrate these messages. And often it comes in the in it's more of an energy that you're able to anchor in yourself right now, so that your life can move more into that direction.
Okay. Okay. Um, do you, as you were talking, I just thought about this. Do you believe an idea of, like you said, being an entrepreneur? Do you think that because that idea pops into if it's in our heart, do you believe that somewhere, somewhere else in another dimension or another world, that we are actually living that life and it's a part of being an entrepreneur is a part of our soul journey in this life? Did that, I
um
hope I didn't confuse you.
Yeah, I see what you mean, and I don't necessarily see it like that. For
Hmm.
me, if you dream of something, it's because it is for you. Like, I see it as a message from your higher self that you should move into that direction, that it
Mm,
is an opportunity for you. Um, but in terms of the parallel universes and the parallel versions of ourselves, I don't necessarily make the connection there, because I guess in the infinite amount of parallel selves that you have, they all would be doing something different. So it
mhm,
would be very difficult to, do everything, because there's an infinite amount of possibilities. But I do believe that whenever you have the desire to do something, it's divinely guided, and that this is why you should go for it.
Okay, thank you for explaining that. When you're in the Akashic Records, are you giving someone a reading? What does it look like for you visually?
Well, it's tapping into the different layers, so that I have, because everybody has different abilities. So for me, the strongest things are vision, so clairvoyance, clairsentience, so just knowing, and feeling. So when I tap into the records, the first thing that happens is that I start feeling the energy shift, and I would often um, feel where the person have a energetic block. So this is the first thing I would be doing, like clearing inner energies, because I can feel, okay, well, there is a dense mass there, and there is a blockage there. So that's where I normally start. And then when it comes to the messages, a lot of time it starts with an image. So it's funny, because sometimes the image doesn't make sense for me. And
Mm,
I'm like, okay, I'm gonna share it with the client, and they're like, oh really, you're saying that? Yeah, it makes so much sense, because this happened to me in the past. And I feel like it's their guides um trying to authenticate themselves in a way, because they give me information that I would have never there's no way I could know that. like,
Hmm.
and it
Right.
starts like that. And the person knows that whatever is happening is actually real, because their guides have already showed that, okay, this is authentic. This is an authentic experience. So I'm very visual, as I said. And then after that, these first symbols that come into mind and images that come into mind is mostly the clear sentient part that comes in, and just innate knowing, and innate messages that comes through, that I share.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Um, for someone that's struggling with tapping into their intuition and their inner power, what could they do to help get them on the path of, or what is the first thing to do to help them get them on the path of self-healing and building a stronger connection with their intuition?
Just try.
Yeah.
This is a lot of times we're blocking ourselves because, as I said at the beginning, we feel like it's something outside of us that we cannot grasp. But this is something that you build through experimenting, and um, everybody has their unique way of tapping into their divine connection. So obviously there's always like, you can guide people through it, but it's through experimenting that you're going to see what it looks like specifically for you to connect with the divine. So I encourage people to just try,
Mhm.
in their meditation, questions um, ask questions to their spirit guides, and ask for sign as well. Say things like, if um, can you create a synchronicity that would look like that, and then in the following days you would pay attention and see if that synchronicity happens. And something I really really like doing is automatic writing to connect with my higher self, because this is such a powerful practice, especially for beginners.
Mhm.
And it's very simple as well. You just put yourself in a relaxed state, and you write a question. Well, some people would write the question with one hand and the response with the other hand. I do everything with one hand, because yeah, it works for me, and I think it's just about it tuning in to see when the energy is shifting from um, your you hair and your higher self, because the energy is different. So you would write the question, and then without getting your ego in the way. And when I say that, I mean, you shouldn't block yourself. Whatever comes to mind, you write it down, even though if it doesn't make sense, you write it down.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
while doing this practice, it's gonna look weird because you're gonna think, oh my god, I'm writing nonsense. But actually, when you go back and you read what you wrote in that specific state, you realize that this is this is messages from a higher vibration, because and you realize that there's no way you could have come up with that stuff. So
Mm.
I think it's a very easy way to start trusting your intuition as well, and also creating this relationship with yourself where you can tune in and see um, what is yourself right now and what is external to you. So it
Mm.
helps you, switch from one energy to the other, which is something that's very important in channeling.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you so much for explaining that. I love that you bring up automatic writing too. And it sounds like with automatic writing, I do a lot of like just journaling. Or I shouldn't say I do a lot, but I've experimented in some journaling, but It sounds like with automatic writing, is it similar to journaling where you're just letting it flow from wherever it's just ask, like you said, asking the questions and whatever is coming to mind or coming to heart, you're just writing it down?
Um, it depends. It depends on, because I also practice journaling, but I practice journaling in with the idea of healing or understanding a situation. So I'm not necessarily in the right in the same mindset. It's not necessarily the same mindset. When you practice automatic writing, you're asking a question.
Mm-hmm.
So, and you're letting things flow through
Mm-hmm.
you and you write them down. So it's a bit different than journaling, where you're using your own knowledge and your own experience and you're actually writing it down. I don't know if that makes sense, but
Yes.
um, from in one perspective, in the automatic writing, you're allowing yourself to download messages,
Mm.
whilst when you're doing journaling, you're releasing your thoughts on the paper.
Okay. Yes, that makes sense. How important is it to, with everything you do, and I think as far as with journaling, I don't know if this would be in the same category, but how important is it to have or to set your intention with everything you do, journaling, with praying, with just walking through life, setting goals, just setting intention, I feel like is very important. But what is your opinion on that?
Um, well, I think setting an intention is a powerful direction, and it's also a declaration to the universe that this is what you want to manifest. So anything you any in any manifestation process, it would be the first step. And it's complicated because I feel like what a lot of people are doing is they would set an intention, but they don't necessarily remember that intention afterwards.
Hmm.
So I think there's a belief shift to do there, that it's not only about setting the intention, but it's also staying close to that intention and finding ways to bring back that intention um, in your daily life. Because if it's not a strong enough vision, it's just going to fade away.
Mhm. Yeah.
And yeah, you can do it beautifully, like you're doing with your vision board behind. These are powerful ways to keep your intention in mind, because if you don't, well, it's just gonna,
Go away. Yeah, like you
yeah, it's
said,
just
yeah.
gonna go away. Yeah. And it's like when you do you set your intentions for the month, and you practice journaling and you write all your different objectives and the actions that you're going to take in order to make that thing happen. It's also important to go back to what you had actually wrote at the time. I
Mm.
don't know, it can be every week. Every week you can go back to what happened during the week, and see where you are. Because if you don't practice that regularly, it's going to be very difficult to keep that intention live, and make your manifestation happen.
As we come to a close, what do you have any last words that you would like to share?
um So the last word I would like to share, and this is something that we discuss here, is about trusting yourself and really knowing your self-worth. I like to think that we're all divine beings. So never believe that something is not available for you. Never believe that something is not possible for you. You have all the tools um, within to manifest your biggest dreams and desires. So that would be my message. For me, we're parts of the divine, so everything the divine has, we have it within us. And the only thing that's blocking us from being this super being is the vision that we have of ourselves. So this is where self-worth and self-love comes into place. The sole fact of acknowledging, okay, I am a multi-dimensional being. I am an infinite being. The sole fact that you're going to acknowledge that and repeat this to yourself daily is going to unlock so much, because you're going to realize your true value and your true potential, and it opens a lot of possibilities.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Muriel. I truly enjoyed this conversation. I'm going to ask you a few questions that I ask all of my guests. And what or who is the divine or God to you?
For me, the divine is in all of us, and I love this Indian image that comes from the mythology of India, where Brahma, the creator, was this infinite being that started to gain consciousness and wanted to know himself. So he started expanding and creating these different versions of himself in order to understand and know himself. And I think this is what we are. We are part of the creator, and we're having these experiences on earth in order to know ourselves and grow, so that we can go back from to where we came from, to source. um, and I used to be a scientist, so I like to do a parallel with the Big Bang. So I talked about Brahma and the creator. You can imagine Brahma being this particle of energy that explodes, and in this, and well, the explosion would be the moment where it starts gaining consciousness, and it's expanding, creating all these different life forms. And all these different life forms are actually part of his himself. So yeah, we're all part of the infinite, so we have the infinite within us as well.
Mm. What is your spiritual practice?
So I'm really intuitive when it comes to my spiritual practice, and I really tune daily inwards in order to see what is relevant for me. But I would always do card readings. I love doing card readings, and switching from one oracle to the other. It's something fun for me, and I think you should do things that brings you joy and
Mhm.
connect you to your inner child, and that's something that brings me joy. And that's why I always go back to this practice. And I also connect to my heart, because this helps me center. It helps me anchor in my body and in the present moment. So I always go back to this practice as well. And the other thing I really love is walks in nature. I love rivers, waterfalls. And in the Caribbean, well, there's a lot of opportunities to go and have a dive in the sea or the waterfall. So the water is something that really connects me to the divine. So
Mhm.
that's also something I really include in my spiritual practices.
I love that. I love that you said do something that that you truly enjoy and that connects you to your inner child. But I love the explanation, or that you mentioned water, because everything, like you said, is consciousness and has energy. But water, something about that element where I think it truly helps heal us as well, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
because we're 60 to 70% water,
yes,
and we came from water.
yes,
So and it's just an element that you can program and that can carry energy. So it's a powerful vehicle. So when you're diving into the sea, I feel like the downloads are coming in easier. Um, you're you're tuning into nature. You're tuning into the divine in a very beautiful way.
yeah,
It's it's liquid light.
yes, yes. I love that. I love that. How do you define, what is your definition of love?
um, for me, love is the only energy that really exists. Anything else is not the truth. For me, the love is the energy that, when I was discussing the expansion earlier. For me, what triggered this expansion is love, and love is actually the energy that is within all of us, and I see it in the different patterns that exist in nature, and how beautifully nature creates abundance, and um, helps sustain the different life forms. So yeah, it's really the energy that's in everything, and it's really unconditional love. It's only always going to exist whatever happens.
Mm, thank you for that. What or who inspires you?
um I want to say nature again, because
Yeah.
I really observe nature. I love to watch birds, and I love to see, as I said, the different patterns. I remember last month, there were some banana trees that um created this huge amount of bananas, and I was looking at it and
Mm,
thanking the universe for this abundance that is always there for us. And it's amazing how so these bananas, they became ripe and birds started to eat them, and also rats. It is not so glamorous, but it it was beautiful to see how the cycle of life,
yeah.
and how the animals, they don't need anything. Everything is provided beautifully to them, because they're living in flow and in ease and in perfect harmony with their soul and their purpose. And this is what I strive for as well, being in this state of flow and in ease, where abundance can just flow towards me.
Yes, yes. Well, and I'm sure being in the Caribbean, you're surrounded by just nature and just the beauty of it all. So I can, yeah. Yeah, I, I envy you for that.
Come
What
visit.
I know, right? Listen, I will one day. What has life taught you so far?
The biggest lesson for me was again on self-worth, because my whole story is the one of being a little bit shy, and yeah, just not knowing the true value that I had. So for me, it was very important to go and look for a successful career, and being successful in the professional world, because I didn't have that innate knowing that I had value. So the biggest lesson that was taught to me through the experiences that I have is that um, the most important thing is the love that I have for myself and the connection that I have for myself, because with this connection I can recreate anything. This is my power. It's not necessarily the circumstances or what the material things that I have around me. Is the beautiful gems are within me for me
Mhm.
to shine, and it all starts there.
Yeah, yeah, beautiful. Muriel, I have really enjoyed our conversation. Where can
Me
people
too.
find you?
So you can find me on Instagram at Luz by Mumu. So that's spelled LUZBYMUMU, and it actually means light by Muriel. Luz for the Spanish word.
I love it.
And you can also find me on Facebook, just by spelling my name, Murielle Gros-Désirs. So these are two ways to find me easily on social media.
Okay, and then I'll put it in the show notes as well.
Okay, great, great.
Yes.
And um, I don't know when is this is going to be shared, but I'm doing a masterclass for people that are just starting tapping into their spirituality, that want to connect with their intuition. So I'm gonna be sharing powerful tips in there, so that they can start this journey with confidence and ease. And people are always going to be able to see the replay, so they can just send me a message on Luz by Mimi on Instagram or even on Facebook, and I can share the replay, or they can also attend if the event hasn't passed yet.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much, Muriel. And again, I truly enjoyed and it was an honor to have you on Conversations with Robin.
And thanks for having me. I really enjoyed that conversation. It it was really profound. And I love having deep conversations, so I was in heaven.
Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you so much. Thank you for listening to another episode of Conversations with Robin. If you've enjoyed this episode, please do not forget to subscribe and like. Remember, every week we have new guests on our shows. Conversations that empower, inspire, and enlighten.